Hi everyone, and welcome back to another movie of the week, and this is Snow White and the Huntsman from 2012. So if you haven't watched it, watch it now. If this is your first time at movie of the week, as I do, I talk about a movie here, you guys comment below your thoughts, and in 2024 we're doing franchises and reviews and things, those elements. So we're doing four different Snow White movies. So we started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from 1937. So if you haven't watched it, watch it now, and then watch that video. And then we did the Mirror Mirror from 2012. So if you haven't watched that, watch it now and watch that video. And now we're doing this the Snow White and the Huntsman from 2012 as well. So I talked about it in my last video, how I thought it was really interesting that two different Snow White movies came out in the same year. Like, it's not like it was like back-to-back years, like a couple years in between. It was the same year. And it's just so interesting, like, you know, having this same story that you tell over the years, and just like different ways you can tell a story. And it's just so interesting that this came out in the same year, but they're totally different interpretations. Talked about how Mirror Mirror is more of a comedy, and this one's clearly not. It's very it's more dramatic. Like, Mirror Mirror was PG, this is PG-13, and like, it's not too dark. Like, I was thinking, like, is this just like a dark version of Snow White? Is this like more like, you know, you don't show your kids this, it's not the fairy tale version? I feel like it's not too dark. Like, it definitely is dark, where I feel like this one, more so than the other ones, even go more into the backstory. This is how the queen came power, this is how she overthrew them, like, she's just evil and all this stuff, and like, you know, more so of how she gets people's beauty. And I don't even know if the other ones kind of covered that. It was more so that she just wanted to be the most beautiful, and the mirror is saying that Snow White is the most beautiful, and that's why she went after her. But I think it was also something in this one where, you know, she was even more powerful, where she like needed to get the beauty, but then also in the Mirror Mirror she was like older then, so I don't know. I mean, Kristen Stewart as Snow White is an interesting choice. I don't know if she's like perfect for the role, but you know, she was really big then because of Twilight. I think this was the movie where she like had the affair with the director or something, I don't know. But I think this interpretation is kind of interesting because in the other ones it's more so like the huntsman sacrifices, what's the word, whatever, lets her live, and then she kind of lives with the seven dwarves, and then they come back or whatever. But this one was a little bit different because they wanted to kill her right away. Like, it was all about getting her heart. You know, in the past it was like, you know, Snow White just has to be dead, so the queen was just like, send her away, kill her somewhere else. But this one, they needed the heart, so there was kind of emphasis on like her like being dead right away, and so that's why they had the huntsman go after her. So I'm sure like over the years there's this interpretation that the huntsman, that actually like Snow White escaped, and then the huntsman, you know, instead of like letting her live, was the one to go after her. So I think he wanted to do that interpretation of the huntsman hunting her, but then actually like falling in love with her. Like, clearly, whatever, there was that prince character, you know, that was still kind of there. But it was interesting to see, like, to have the huntsman give the huntsman a story that you don't really see in the other one. So it's interesting they decided to take that approach, and then it ended up, it was his true love's kiss that made her alive again, I guess. And so it's something where, you know, I mean, I'm not too critical of it, but I've been critical of the you know, kiss in the other ones, and like, I feel like this one is the best one, even though it's still like I think it's the best one, and it kind of feels like, you know, he was just kind of saying goodbye, and it kind of just happened, and it's something where we know that that's what made her live again, but they don't really know, and so it's just like, whatever. I think it's definitely this one. It was interesting, like, she was poisoned. Like, in Mirror Mirror, it was Mirror Mirror was so different with like the prince being poisoned, and it was just like, he was like puppy love. Like, I think that was their way of doing a comedy where like you could show this to the kids. But this one, it was clearly like she was pretending to be the prince, and she gave her an apple, and the apple is what poisoned her. But you know how I talked about Mirror Mirror, they tried to like show feminism, and that she was like fighting back, and so that she learned how to fight. So this one kind of had a similarity of that, where she kind of learns how to fight a little bit. And in the end, she's like going to war with them, and like is all soldier up, and I'm like, wait, this seems like a huge step. Like, how do we get to point A to point B, you know? But I saw a lot of comments about this, and I kind of feel a little bit similar, that like this movie just kind of goes on a long time. Like, I don't know, it's just like, it's one of those, like, it feels more adventure where like you're going point A to point B, and you're trying to like live, and it's just like, sometimes those can just, it loses you in the middle. And so I kind of felt away with that one. I just wonder why they wanted to do this interpretation. Like, I understand why they kind of wanted to do the Mirror Mirror one. They wanted to, you know, have a newer interpretation that they could show the kids that kind of had more feminism, but it's still funny and all this stuff. I don't know why they wanted to do this one other than like giving the Huntsman a story and, you know, maybe having, I think it's Chris Hemsworth in this role. Like, I just don't know the real reason of doing this one. But the movie we're doing next week is The Huntsman Winter War. I think it is from 2016, which gets more into the Huntsman backstory. So I think it was really like someone wanted, like someone probably heard, this is all like, I have no idea. I'm just like making up things. I'm probably so wrong, but like, this is what could have happened if someone heard this interpretation of Snow White where this thing happened to Huntsman and then wanted to make a movie where it's more focused on the Huntsman and this thing happened to Huntsman and they really fell in love with the Huntsman character somehow. And so then, you know, they were like, okay, this one does well, maybe we can do a prequel movie. And that's what they did, where I'm kind of forgetting it, but you know, we're gonna watch it for next week and talk about it here, where it's kind of focused on the Huntsman's life. And so I think that's like really interesting, and it's kind of like, it's like there's so many interpretations and different ways of telling these stories that we kind of all know, and we kind of know key details like the red apple and like she falls asleep and like the mirror, you know, like now people think it's Mirror Mirror when the original it wasn't Mirror Mirror that she says, whatever. But it's also interesting too, like these characters and how if you focus on one character, like how the story's so different. Like most of the time, you know, Snow White is the main character, and technically she is still the main character in this, but there's two main characters, and they really make the Huntsman like one of the main characters. He's not like, you know, the Queen, where like technically she is like one of the main characters, but they really like, you know, it's Snow White and Huntsman. Like he is one of the main characters. Like he is strong in this, and so it's interesting to have these focuses on characters. And I wonder if we see like a Snow White movie where it's like from the perspective of the Queen, the evil Queen, and like, you know, all this stuff of, you know, I think maybe we see that in the next one. I don't know, like why she's this way. But anyway, we're gonna end it here. But yeah, obviously the movie for next week is The Huntsman Winter War from 2016. So, you know, comment about all your thoughts about Snow White here, and then watch that movie for next week. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.